Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this April 4th regular meeting of the Zion City Council to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Here.
Commissioner McDowell?
Here.
Commissioner Holmes? Here. Commissioner Fisher?
Here.
Mayor McKinney?
Here. Item number 3, Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bremner, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Tonight, Pastor Ken Fielding of Christian Assembly of God is going to offer our prayer this evening.
Well, just want to first of all just greet everybody and say happy Election Day. And but I want to share a scripture with you. It says, 2 others who were criminals were also led away to be executed with Jesus. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there along with the criminals, one on his right and the other on his left. And this next verse has just captured my attention, my thoughts this week. Just so powerful. Then Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. Lord, we come to you this day. We thank you, God, for those powerful words that offer forgiveness that we find through Jesus Christ. And Lord, as we are in this week, I pray, God, that message would become more and more real to each one of us. God, as we begin this council meeting, I pray your blessing upon the mayor and the commissioners. God, I pray for just your richest blessing upon them. I pray for wisdom, health, and Lord, just answers to whatever may be troubling them today. We also pray, God, for our first responders and those that are in harm's way. God, we just ask your blessing and your care upon them. Lord, continue to watch over our city. And Lord, just bless the city of Zion. And we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Pastor Fielding. Item number 4, are there any agenda changes by any of the commissioners? Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by McDowell and second by Holmes. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries. Citizens' comments.
Usually
Just
choose
cheap
us.
barbecue having them.
Thank you, Chief Street. All right,
Well, Eric, no, you picked up his slack.
With reminders.
Mary Lou Hildebrandt.
She'll be right there. They have to leave for a moment.
Oh, she had, okay. We'll wait for Brian Dixon. Step forward, 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brian Dixon. I just have a few things I want to share. Back in the days, we used to have a roller rink in Zion and a movie theater back years ago, and we don't really have that no more. We don't have anything in Zion like we used to. I think we should have something like that again. Not even a bowling alley. Some fun entertainment for people to do and do things. And I've noticed that has been not happening for years. And I think it should be something, I hope there's something down the road that people will get to doing something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
You all.
All right. Mary Lou Hildebrandt.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, during the month of March, your as volunteers gave 56 hours of service for a value of $1,677 to the city. We performed a monthly siren test and assisted the fire department with rehabbing traffic for a fire. We participated in the volunteer fair at the high school. We assisted with the monthly food pantry held in the new tech parking lot so that 175 families got food and supplies. We had our monthly meeting and did cleaning and upkeep at the ESDA Center and on our vehicles. Members also stood by ready to assist if needed for the predicted severe weather. If you are interested in serving as a volunteer for the city, go to the city website and fill out an application. We gladly welcome new members. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Mary Lou, for all that you do and as the crew.
Thank you, sir.
Melissa Siegel.
Good evening, everybody. So the 7th will be the 9th month that my son Diego was murdered in the park, in the alley behind my house. And I held his hand while he died. He was 17. You know, I'm here to talk about the facts and about the normal life that my family and I live in Zion. I'll keep coming because honestly, it's not a concern to anybody because I don't get calls back, I don't get emails back. It's very, very disturbing. When I moved to Zion, you know, I thought it was a good place to raise my family. There's 3 generations in my home. You know, but the block is hot already. You know, started with the 28-year-old that passed away at his home on the other side of the park on Gabriel. Called about that. Couldn't get any information. I knew somebody passed away. I knew it. I couldn't get any information. Didn't know if my family was in harm. You know, there's no transparency anymore. Nothing's on the scanner. It's very concerning. Very concerning. You know, I don't know if anybody heard the shots last night that were on on Gideon, my street. You know, the windows, the sound hits different when it's on your street, you know what I mean? It's like undescribable. I don't know if you guys hear it, but I hear the shots all the time. And, you know, the shots hit different in the summertime. You know, my 12-year-old daughter heard the shots that hit my son. She knew they were for her brother. My 12-year-old. Can't believe it. You know, I don't know how things are going to change. You know, I called last night at 3 o'clock in the morning when the shots, you know, and I saw the activity on my street across. You know, trying not to wake up anybody else. Don't know if we need to leave. Don't know if my house got hit, because I had threats. I did see something that was nice from the police. You know, they actually went through 3 times with the light specifically on my house. I thought that was very nice. Very nice. But again, I call, you know, the non-emergency 911. I need to get sleep. I have kids. I have to get up. I have to get 5 people out of my house, not including myself. And, you know, they say on the call, let me see if I can get a hold of the officer. Gets a hold of the officer. Officer says there were calls about shots, which happened because I was woken up out of my sleep, and you know, he said there was no concern. I have major concern. I have 4 minor children in my house that I care a lot about. Care a lot about my son as well. And unfortunately, you know, I still ask the same question. What are we going to do about protecting our streets in Zion? Over the summer, our children, what are we going to do? Why isn't anybody else saying anything? Why is this not a concern to anybody else? It's okay? No, it's not normal. It's not normal to live like this. It's not normal. You know, I don't know. I going to the community meeting, which is actually on the 12th. Wednesday is my busiest night. I can't make it, and that is such a strict agenda. That's not the place for my concerns. So that's why I come here. Another request, I said this the last meeting, will the city buy my home so my family can be safe? You guys might think it's a joke. Oh, here's this girl again, you know? I'm serious. I'm serious. And like I've always said, you guys will continue to see me until there's change. Because I'm still doing it for Diego.
Thank you. Mrs. Bakar? Bak.
I pass, thank you.
All right. Item number 6 is consent agenda.
Approval of minutes of a regular meeting held on March 7th, 2023 at 7 PM. Approval but not release of closed session minutes of a meeting held on March 7th, 2023 at 8:06 PM.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Motion by McDowell, second by Frierson. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries.
Bills, vouchers 142802 through 142997, drawn on Huntington National Bank, total $1,854,127.89.
Is there a motion to approve the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Fisher,
Second.
second by Holmes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries. Item 7, consider passing resolutions as follows. 7A, maintenance of streets and highways by municipality under Illinois Highway Code, MFT funds for the general maintenance programs for FY18 per Director Roberts.
Thank you, sir. The city is currently undergoing an IDOT MFT audit. Attached is a resolution for the utilization of the motor fuel tax fund for the fiscal year 18 general maintenance programs. The expanded funds were utilized for road salt, HMA patching, traffic signal maintenance. The expanded funds for the general maintenance operations was $255,000 and was a budgeted item within the fiscal year 18 MFT account. Staff requests and recommends approving the IDOT resolution.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by McDowell,
Second.
second by Holmes. Questions or comments from the council?
Just for clarification, Director Roberts, this is primarily just cleaning up some documentation, paperwork for this. Since
Yes, sir, this
it was
is more of a
2018.
housekeeping. These are funds that were approved by council. It's just, the resolutions were not either received or IDOT lost. Of course, IDOT doesn't lose paper.
Of course not. Thank you.
All right. Any additional questions, comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item number 8, consider passing ordinance as follows. 8A, authorizing Marsh and McLennan Agency LLC to provide insurance brokerage services and renew certain insurance policies.
Oh, point of order,
This one.
Did I?
Mr. Mayor?
Excuse me.
7B.
7B. Thank you. Got ahead of myself. Maintenance of streets. 7B is maintenance of streets and highways by municipality under Illinois Highway Code MFT funds for the general maintenance programs per Director Roberts.
Thank you, sir. Attached is required resolution by IDOT for utilization of motor fuel tax funds for the general maintenance program. Maintenance operations include our road salt purchase, HMA patching, parkway tree removal, street light repair, and traffic signal maintenance. The estimated cost for the general maintenance operations is $463,000 and is a budgeted item within the fiscal year 24 MFT fund. Staff requests and recommends approving the IDOT resolution for the general maintenance operation.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by McDowell,
Second.
second by Fisher. Questions or comments? I'll have a couple. Director Roberts, with the Parkway tree removal program, seems like that's been going on for a couple of months. And how long will it continue?
That will be an every year expense right now, until we see that it's mainly set there for the trees that are too large for us to take down. So we bring in a contractor, so you could only spend a couple thousand this year, maybe 10,000 next year. It all depends on how the trees are doing. So once they start dying, these are only for the trees that are alongside the parkway within the roadways.
Right, I know there's some taken down in the Gilead Avenue area, and I've seen the crews working in the alleyways as well.
We still have quite a few trees out there.
Yeah. Okay. Any other additional questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson? Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, consider passing ordinance as follows. 8A, this seems like Groundhog's Day, authorizing Marsh and McLennan Agency LLC to provide insurance brokerage services and renew certain insurance policies, medical, dental, life, and voluntary options per Administrator Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Our current insurance policies are set to expire on April 30th. Our brokers went out to market for renewal, and basically they go out and they make sure that we're getting good prices and then negotiate additionally on our behalf based on specifics that they know from our claims histories. You have before you the entire results of the proposal. Our health insurance is with Blue Cross is going up 9.51%, which is about $155,000 annually. This has been a trend in insurance in general. We had a 13% increase last year. We're actually below what they're seeing a lot in the industry trends. Some of it's due to risk with the industries that we're in, with police and fire, and injuries with public works, and just those types of health risks. But that's not abnormal, especially when you compare it to some of the other quotes that we got, where there was 24 up to 60% increases for other vendors for renewal. So I would recommend that we stay with Blue Cross for our health insurance. Dental insurance remains with Guardian at a 16.1% increase. Now that, we're self-insured for dental, so we pay the claims. This is really the third-party administration of them submitting and processing all of the claims. So even though it's a 16% increase, it's only about $1,000 annually in that administrative fee. Life insurance remains at Blue Cross with no increase, and they actually gave us a 2-year rate guarantee on that. We also had assurance quote for additional voluntary vision and supplemental life insurance for employees. That's at no cost to the employees, or no cost to the city. That's voluntary for employees under a group plan to be able to participate and purchase additional life insurance or vision. However, it does get us an extra 0.5% off of our medical insurance premiums by going with Blue Cross on those packages as well. So that's a savings of about $9,000, which currently isn't reflected in these rates because we have to approve it tonight. So I would recommend renewal of all the insurance policies as presented for the year ending April 30th, 2024.
Is there a motion to renew our insurance policies?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Fisher,
Second?
second by McDowell. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I had a question on the additional voluntary vision and supplemental life.
Yes.
Is there a certain number of employees that would have to be in that or accept that? opt in to-
For the vision, I believe it's 10. The initial proposal that Blue Cross had, which was, we thought the best rate, said they wanted 60% of the population or 10, whichever's greater. 60% of our employees, we said we probably wouldn't get that. Would they just accept the 10 because a lot of other competitors were quoting at a minimum of 10? And they said, yes, they would accept it at 10. So it's a pretty minimal amount. To be able to do that in life, there is no minimum requirement on it. Sure.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item 8B, authorizing assurance to provide insurance brokerage services and renew certain insurance policies, workers' compensation, and workplace violence, per Administrator Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Our workers' comp and workplace violence policies also align with our fiscal year, so those are expiring on April 30th. They did the same process for going out with that. We're very limited in workers' comp providers within the state, but we are recommending that we stay with IPRF. The renewal was a 1.9% increase, or $15,000 annually, which really is a decrease in our premiums offset by increases in personnel costs, salaries, and number of employees that we're insuring. Workplace violence is a 3.5% increase, or $500 annually. All the results of the market analysis and the proposal were attached, but I recommend renewal of the workers' comp policy with IPRF and renewal of workplace violence policy with McDonald.
Is there a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion by Holmes,
Second.
second by McDowell. Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item number 8C, authorizing a collective bargaining agreement between the Fraternal Order of Police, David M. Parker Memorial Zion Lodge number 91, and Illinois FOP Labor Council Patrol in the City of Zion from May 1st, 2023 through April 30th, 2026, per Administrator Nabel.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. We negotiated our contract with the Patrol Officer Division of the Illinois FOP for the city. We finalized all of the financial and other benefit terms of this agreement. However, when I submitted this, we were still negotiating some language on best practices, just updating between our legal team and their side of legal. We just reached that, but I didn't have it available to update in the packet tonight. So I'm going to request that we actually table the approval of this to the April 18th council meeting.
All right, is there a motion to table this until April 18th, our council meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Frierson, second by Fisher. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0 to table the item. Item number 8D, establishing and implementing a program to change mitigation rates for the development of emergency and non-emergency service by the fire department for services provided, rendered by, for the City of Zion Fire and Rescue, per Chief Street.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Thank you. At the September 20th, 2022 meeting of last year, Council approved updated fire recovery mitigation rates as outlined in Exhibit A. Fire Recovery USA pointed out that I neglected to request an ordinance number along with that item, so this submittal is simply a repeat request of the same information in order to obtain a proper ordinance number for Fire Recovery USA to process the changes. I included the wording from that past memo in this memo, as well as Exhibit A. No other changes from what you approved last September. So I recommend and request approval of this.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Frierson,
Second.
second by McDowell. Questions or comments from the council? Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item number 9, discussion, authorization, and approval. 9A, consider proposal from Dagan and Associates for environmental engineering services for the closed Zion landfills, per Director Roberts.
Thank you, sir. Attached, you will find a proposal for environmental engineering services for the city's closed landfill. Services will include groundwater monitoring and reporting, landfill inspection, and reporting that is required by IEPA for all closed landfill permits. Staff requests and recommend approval of proposal for environmental services to Egan and Associates of Libertyville, Illinois, in the amount of $28,842. The proposed contract is for the fiscal year 24 and will be a budgeted item within the waste fund.
Is there a motion to consider the proposal from Deegan and Associates?
So moved.
Motion by McDowell,
Second.
second by Holmes. Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item number 9B, consider approval of agreement between the City of Zion and Blackboard Connect for emergency notification services per Chief Street.
Thank you again, Mayor and Commissioners. The city's Blackboard Connect coverage is up for renewal. The current agreement for service ended March 25th, 2023, and the attached renewal is effective March 26th, so it'll still be in effect. Staff is recommending approval of this renewal in the amount of $12,090. Per previous agreements, the city will pay the invoice, and half of this amount, $6,045, will be reimbursed from the Joint Dispatch Board, the JETS fee. The other half is a budgeted figure from fund as the emergency notification line. Also, as mentioned at a number of previous city council meetings, we urge all residents of Zion to register with Blackboard Connect to receive these noteworthy messages from city staff. Easy instructions can be found on the homepage of the city's website, cityofzion.com.
Is there a motion to approval of the agreement between the City of Zion and Blackboard Connect?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Fryerson and second by McDowell. Questions or comments? Could you explain to our residents that might be watching Chief Street how we use and implement the Blackboard Connect and why it's so important for our residents to sign up for it?
Sure. One of the things that is important to point out is that we rarely use it, so people will not get inundated with texts or robocalls or anything regarding mundane issues within the city. So if there's an emergent need for whether it's evacuation or a weather event or an important city announcement, we will send that out, and the residents choose how they want to receive that, whether it's a text message, an email, or a phone call, or all three. And every once in a while, when we have a message that we need to send out, we will do that. Interestingly, I believe we'll have some discussions on possibly using it a little more than we do. The last time we really sent messages revolved around COVID shots, I believe, a year and a half or 2 years ago. So we want to use it a little more often, whether it's main breaks for specific areas or items like that as well. But it's really easy to sign up, and yeah, you will not get barraged with calls and emails and texts.
Okay. We had a motion and a second.
Yes.
Any other questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carries 5-0. Item number 10, departmental commentary. Director,
No.
no,
Discussion?
excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself once again.
Anxious to get out.
Yes, big party this evening. No, just joking. Item number 9C, discussion regarding garbage contract per Administrator Nabel. Sorry, Administrator Nabel.
Believe me, I'd rather skip this one too. So our contract with Waste Management was a 5-year agreement. There was a clause in there that basically said within 60 days of the end of contract, either party could terminate to then reopen negotiations with the contract. They took that provision, sent us a letter, and we've been basically in negotiations with them over the past probably month and a half. We started just talking with them prior, but we couldn't really enter into true negotiations until that happened. Not surprisingly, they hit us with, the costs of business, the inflation, equipment, supplies, staffing issues are really hitting them hard. They're also trying to streamline how they do their garbage pickups with more automation, which is gonna be one of the pain points on this contract. But currently, garbage is picked up all in the alleys, and it's all done manually with the backload trucks because the utility lines overhead, they can't use the arms, if you've seen them on other trucks, where they use automated arms. They're switching to all automated in their fleet, which is pretty common for a lot of fleet providers. They can do it with half the staff and actually get routes done in twice the time by doing that. So it's less injuries to their employees as well. So there's no way that it's not gonna go in that direction. So they said, we'll sit down with you and talk, but one of the mandatories is garbage will have to be moved to the front. Now, we know logistically that's gonna be a huge pain and a huge adjustment for a lot of people. But basically it'd be, recycling goes to the front as it is now, it'd be the same process. But we still are gonna have to work out internally, logistically, how to handle that, how to manage the compliance of that, how to make sure that any complaints related with that are handled properly. And we know we're gonna have a lot of kind of public education and communication that has to go out on this. So rather than a May 1st implementation, we asked them to do that, delay that implementation until September. So September 4th is when they were talking about doing that. We looked at alternatives to say, what if you gave us a year as is, what would that be? It'd be a 38% increase in our rates. And we said, if it's gonna go that way anyway, rather than take that hit and then have to still go that route, let's rip the Band-Aid off now, just give us time to work on communication. And they're gonna work with us on getting the communication out to individuals as well. That being said, there's a couple other significant changes to this as well. The recycling will be going to an every other week pickup rather than every week. They will be offering upgrades to containers. They have, I think it's a 64 gallon right now, and they could go up to a 92 if you do fill your current garbage can or recycling can on a weekly basis. They can get you they'll be able to do a free upgrade for that, and then you could get a free upgrade they'll have a window every year for that as well. That will also be implemented in September, going to the every other week. And then the leaf vacuuming program, not the pickup of waste and sticks, but the leaf vacuuming program will only be going on for one additional year. They're hitting the same issues that we did when we outsourced the leaf vacuuming program to them, as far as the equipment costs, the risk to the employees. We had to have like 4 or 5 people going out and doing the leaf vacuuming when we did that. And I know that's gonna be also a major adjustment for people. But the cost of doing that would just be astronomical to maintain, which we're trying to be cost conscious of that. We will still have the leaf pickup, the curbside pickup of leaf bundling and bagging as part of this. That being said, this is a 5-year contract where it's basically a 5% increase every year that they have in the contract. The only difference is in the first year, fiscal year coming up, the cost to us, it goes from $27 a month, or goes up to $27 a month. Then next year, it actually drops to $26.25, which the $27 adds to 5%, but then they take out the costs of some of the savings of the leaf vacuuming program. So that will drop back down, and then the 5% going up after that. Like I said, without that, we'd be looking at a minimum of 38% increases in rates, and we just couldn't justify that. There's gonna be some bumps in the road on learning the changes, because this is what everyone's used to. But we're here to answer questions, we're here to address questions, we're looking, like I said, internally on how to make sure we have compliance both with the public and with the garbage company to ensure that they're doing the pickups when they should. The plus side is hopefully the learning curve of this will be pretty short, because if you don't get your pickup garbage picked up because it's in the back one week, you learn that pretty quick to put it out front the next week versus changes in water and things like that you only have every 3 months for billing and things. So, this is just for discussion tonight. I wanted to present that information. We'll be bringing the final contract for the next council meeting for approval. And then start the communications, flyers, the ZB Quarterly. We'll be sending postcards to every resident, as well as putting flyers in water bills. And that might be another one of those uses for the blackboard, for general information announcements that we get out to people to try and make sure everyone's aware of this, and try and make the transition to this as smooth as possible.
One question, given that everything is going to automation, one of the concerns that we've heard from citizens over the years is with the automation, is that going to mean more trash, or is it going to be more precise in their ability to contain the trash that they pick up through automation?
It's going to be a combination, because one of the things in the alleys has been, we have individuals that leave their garbage cans out in the alleys all week long. And unfortunately, animals get into those, garbage goes out in the alley. That will not be allowed to be able to happen when it moves to the front. So that will kind of actually result in some less garbage than we typically see in the alleys. But that's going to be one of the things that we know is a possibility of, especially we're going to have to deal with how we're plowing when there's potentially garbage cans in the street, and what that windrow, the snow is going to do to knocking over cans. There's some places where there's elevation issues on the front of a house where they can't put a garbage can on the parkway, so it might have to go into the street. And how is that going to affect street parking potentially during the days? So we're also looking at whether we're anticipating the potential of having to get an additional street sweeper and staff that to ensure that the garbage is cleaned up properly. Now, the plus side of the leaf vacuuming going away is that over time, right now our sweeper goes, it's probably once every 4 weeks. We have one sweeper, one staff person. They do the entire city with one sweeper, but that only results in about one pass every 4 weeks because of how fast the sweeper gets filled up, because of all the leaves that are actually in the street. As much as we try and keep them off the street and ask people to, they end up there, whether it's wind or contractors or people putting it in there. That really results in that sweeper going slow. Without the leaf vacuuming program in place, we're hoping that will clean up a lot of the leaves in the street, and our sweeper will actually be able to do more passes more frequently. But it's going to be one of those things that we're going to have to be aware that is a possibility, and have remedies in place plans in place to address if we start seeing garbage in the streets being more of an issue.
And given that the location will switch from the alleyways to the streets, this should improve the conditions of our alleys in terms of the wear and tear in the alleys after the repair.
That is one of the pros of this, is that the alleys are not rated for the weight of the trucks that go through there, and the garbage trucks have definitely accelerated the deterioration of our alleys, whereas streets can be engineered to handle that better. So we will get longer life out of our alleys as we replace them over time with it moving to the front.
Okay, any other questions?
When are we gonna have to act on this?
This will be at the next council, April 18th.
The guidance for the yard waste pickup, it says either or. What's the thinking there?
Where at specifically? Is that it?
This was for page 2, section 5, sub-bullet 2. It says curbside yard waste collection, services to residential units from the curbside for alleys on a weekly basis. Is that just a mistype?
I'll have to double check with them. I just got the revisions to this last night. I don't think that I think curbside is going to be the required.
Okay.
Unless there's some, and I'll double check with them, but their indications were that it was curbside.
Okay. It just seemed a little confusing. My concerns were similar to the mayor's in terms of the extra debris and the other stuff that's gonna be in the front of the house now, versus the back and then.
One of the things we were talking to them about was if they're not going automated with the leaf pickup, like the bagging and the bundles, that can we still keep that in the back so we don't have that in the front?
Yep.
Because you're not going automated with the bags. They're gonna, so I think that was put in there as a
Okay.
placeholder
Okay.
that will clarify before the final agreement.
Thank you.
Because I would like to keep that off the front if I can.
Okay, any additional questions?
Just one thing I just wanted to David to clarify. The CART program, they're gonna take over full administration of the, of providing and maintaining the carts, correct?
Correct. Currently, they do that for all recycling bins. We, for some reason, just through to inherited administrative policies, like when people call for a cart or to purchase a cart, they call City Hall, we end up placing the order, we call out to Waste Management, they end up doing the delivery. We're cutting out the middleman on that, so that they'll be able to deal directly with Waste Management for cart damage, replacement, or purchasing.
Item number 10, if there are no other questions, departmental commentary, Director Roberts.
Thank you, sir. With that great bit of news, my announcement is the spring leaf vacuuming program will start April 24th, run for 2 weeks until Saturday, May 6th. The flyer will be up on the city website. And also, if anybody wants to call the Public Works office at 4050, we will give them the schedule.
All right, thank you. Chief Street.
Well, good evening again. I just have one thing, kind of a somber note. I appreciated Pastor Ken's portion of his prayer regarding first responders. I was going to bring up Chicago firefighter Jermaine Pelt. Just this morning, went in to fight a house fire and did not come out. So keeping the Chicago Fire Department and his family in our thoughts, we appreciate, and just want to point out the dangers that the first responders, police, fire, public works, all of us face, military, and so I just wanted to point that out for you and recognize the Pelt family of Chicago for losing a firefighter in the line of duty just today.
Thank you, Chief Street. Chris Conway, our Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. For those of you that haven't stopped by City Hall, Kat Jenkins is our new administrative assistant. She's working out great, picking up, very personable, very friendly. So if you get a chance to stop in and say hi, that'd be great. And vehicle stickers are on sale, so pick them up.
All right. Administrator Nabel.
Just one thing, it was mentioned during citizen comments, but the next community leaders event, the community dialogue, is Wednesday, April 12th at the ZBTHS Performing Arts Center. Catering from local restaurants from 5:30 to 6, and then the program runs from 6 to 8. We're trying to rotate a little bit on the times of these. Recently, they've been on Saturdays, Saturday mornings, which we know is a hard ask for a lot of people. We've had great turnout at them, and we appreciate people coming out for that, but people that aren't able to come on Saturdays, we're trying to switch to maybe some weekday nights to have other people be able to have some feedback and participate. Our focus is going to be on summer events, a community wellness study that we have a grant for, with a large focus on the nuclear funding discussions from the CJA Act and the state funds that we're going to be receiving. Part of that is to have stakeholder meetings, shareholder meetings, they call them, from the public on input and feedback and potential use of funds. So there'll be some workshopping and bouncing around ideas for that we can take back and document for the grant purposes, grant requirements. So April 12th, 6 to 8 p.m. with food provided at 5:30 at ZBTHS.
Thank you, Administrator Nabel. Commissioner McDowell, any comments this evening?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
All right. Commissioner Holmes?
I mean, I was just gonna say, hopefully by now, since the polls are closed, that everybody has exercised their right to vote. There were several candidate forums around town during this election cycle. And as we know, typically the outcome, the turnout for these municipal elections, consolidated elections, for Zion particularly, are very low. But, yeah, just hope you exercise your right to vote.
Commissioner Fisher?
I think Commissioner Holmes kind of covered it. Thank everybody who came out and voted, either early voting or voting today. Thank you.
Yeah, before I get into announcement, my only thought tonight is, as Chief Street was talking about the firefighter, just as in our community, if we would just keep our minds and thoughts on the first responders that are dealing with the tornado outburst in 11 states where 32 people have died. And so if you have family in that area, we hope they're safe, and we have to keep our prayers and thoughts to those people that have lost their homes. It's been pretty devastating, and I know we've had some very difficult weather here, expected tomorrow, so everyone be safe. As this morning, as we were going around and campaigning, there was the monthly beginning of the week test of our sirens, which they seem to work, which is great. So we hope we don't have the kind of weather that's been evident with the climate change issues and what's been going on through this Midwest and the Southwest. So just stay aware of the weather tomorrow. In announcements, April 7th, city offices are closed for a holiday. We like to wish everyone that celebrate Easter a happy Easter. On April 11th, there's the annual town board meeting. It's at 6 p.m. Again, that's April 11th, the annual town board meeting. And on April 18th, as we've discussed earlier, Zion Township Board meeting at 6 o'clock, and then a city council meeting following at 7 o'clock on April 18th. And May 2nd, at 7 p.m., there's a Zion City Council meeting. With that, item number 12, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Frierson, second by Holmes. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Fryerson?
Aye.
Commissioner McDowell?
Aye.
Commissioner Holmes?
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher?
Aye.
Mayor McKinney?
Aye, motion carried 5-0. Everyone be safe and have a good evening, and thank you for coming out and voicing your concerns.
Balance is at like 300 bucks.
Wow, I was wondering, balance is up by just 300.